It's too much on my fat ass. If I can just encourage everyone to take a seat and then we can kick things off. Well, welcome everyone for joining us here tonight. It's marvellous to see such a packed audience here for our 13th cohort. Before we get started, I'd just like to invite Bianca on stage for a very special acknowledgement of country.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Bianca Williams, a proud Barkindji woman who descends from the far west region of New South Wales. I grew up in a tiny township called Brewarrina. My totem is the eagle hawk, and I'm considered a freshwater person. As an Aboriginal woman, I live and work and perform culturally all over Sydney, and I'm dedicated to educating broader society on my ancient Aboriginal culture. Like you all, I'm a visitor to this place. Therefore, I am unable to officially welcome you, as this is not my country, though I can provide all of you the opportunity to acknowledge this country along with the traditional custodians for the very lands under our feet. To do this, I have written a short poem. Our earthly mother, once so blue and green, now your planetary body is left with the bloodstains of mankind's greed. For millennia, our mother coexisted with Aboriginal people. Our ancestors took great care to tend to Mother Earth's many delicate features. Bushfire burning to clear and regenerate nature was one of our clever ways. Another was the Cadigal women's great ability to nurse a baby, cooking fire on a canoe and fish all day. The Cadigal people once lived and looked after this land until the time came when westernisation took their sacred practices and land connections from their hands. As an ancient culture surviving today, Aboriginal people are reclaiming those old ways, learning to live and survive off the land, carrying on the ancient practice of cultural songs and dance. Aboriginal people respect the earth as a sacred mother and trusted friend. To the Gadigal people, the original ancestors for these lands, let us acknowledge the fact that we stand on their stolen Aboriginal land. Through honouring the Cadigal people of the Eora Nation, we also honour First Nations people of this land, the many different Aboriginal nations that comprise this great southern land. Let us also pay respects to the elders of the past who fought to make it easier for future generations. To the present elders, still keeping those cultural fires of passion burning, and to our emerging elders who step up each and every day into the shoes of our elders who have now passed away. Lastly, it is important to acknowledge all other nationalities we are joined here by today. As a multicultural society, we should celebrate the rich cultural tapestry that all of our backgrounds weave together in a uniquely Australian way. Ladies and gentlemen, I leave you with one final thought for tonight, and that is Sydney and the country of Australia always was and always will be Aboriginal land. Thank you and good night.
Thank you so much, Bianca. I'm Ash Wellington. I'm the Director of Entrepreneurship and Innovation at INCUBATE, and it's my great pleasure to welcome you here this evening. I'd also like to pay special thanks to Councillor Jess Scully from the City of Sydney and all of our honoured guests who are here with us this evening. As you may have noticed, this is the graduation of Class 13. How many people here remember what it's like to be 13? It's kind of a bit awkward. You're not quite a child, not yet grown up. You're starting to make new contacts. Hopefully we're doing without the pimples and the outrageous hormones going on. But ultimately, we're starting to think about the world around us and what our place is going to be. That also means that we spend a lot of time thinking and reflecting and starting to think, what's the role of INCUBATE as it grows into its phase of maturity? So earlier this year, the INCUBATE team got together and started to work on a new vision that was going to take us into this phase of growth. Oh, we'll get back to that in a second. Our vision is to be a world-leading startup community that's accelerating founders who innovate for a better future. And we do this by helping all students, staff, alumni and researchers turn good ideas into great businesses. And that's what you're going to see here tonight. We also have the guiding principles about being the bridge from the university into the entrepreneurship ecosystem in Sydney and Australia and even beyond. We're a diverse community and we celebrate a pay-it-forward community which we encourage you to take up tonight when you go and see our founders. One of the other things that we've been looking into as our phase of growth is that INCUBATE has started to play the older sibling to its younger sibling, Proto, and some of you may notice that we have a Proto stand at the back here. Proto has been reimagined this year to become a sandbox for all of the staff, alumni, researchers and students across the university to come in at any time and play with thoughts and ideas, access mentorship. We've had an open door policy so that we've been able to host many events. We had the Robotics Society with a robot building competition last week. We've hosted the Women in Engineering Masterclass for ideation, and we had a full house for our International Women's Day event. So it's really exciting that we can now offer a space that's truly activated with the heart of innovation across the university. Now, if you're really excited about some of the things you see here tonight, which of course you will be, we would encourage you to share this on your social networks and to follow us as well. So make sure you pull out your phones and take those details down, the hashtag #SydneyIncubate. What you'll see here tonight is a glimpse of the high quality of research and entrepreneurship that comes out of the University of Sydney, but it's just a smidgen. There's so much more opportunity to be discovered. And it's especially great that we can be here in the Sydney Town Hall, in the middle of Sydney, which is the heart of the innovation ecosystem within Australia. So with that, I'd like to hand over to Councillor Jess Scully for an official welcome.
Thanks, Jess. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ash. It is a pleasure to be here, and thank you to Bianca for that beautiful acknowledgement of country. I also want to acknowledge that we're meeting on Gadigal land today and to pay respects to the elders past, present and emerging of the Eora Nation. I also want to acknowledge that we're living in one of the most diverse places in the world. We always acknowledge that there are many cultures that make up the city of Sydney. And that's one of our core strengths here. It's one of the resources that we build on as we try and build a city that's looking towards the future and a city that's going to nurture and incubate the kinds of businesses, organisations and talents that are going to take us into the next century and help us address the huge challenges that we all face as we go into this new era. So it's really exciting that the City of Sydney can work with INCUBATE on a lot of different projects. Ash told me earlier that the City of Sydney and INCUBATE have worked together on a few visiting entrepreneurship program events. Some of them were on last week. Did anyone attend any of those events? Yeah, nice one, nice one. We had a big focus on AI last week, but we've had some incredible events and sessions over the past few years. And that's because at the City of Sydney, we recognise that the knowledge economy, the creative economy and the startup economy are central to our future sustainability as a city. 40% of Australia's startups are here in this very little local government area. It's an area that's about 26 square kilometres and yet it's home to the real the heart and soul of Australia's tech startup sector. It's also the heart and soul of Australia's research and development sector. About 40% of Australia's R&D is based in Sydney as well. And so when that comes together in the form of a program like INCUBATE, wonderful things are going to happen. And it's one of the key strategic advantages that Sydney has, is that we're home to universities like the University of Sydney, to the incredible talent base of students, researchers and academics who work in and around the university and other universities in our area. And of course, the incredible talent that comes from all over the world to study at those institutions, to enrich our life as a city, and also to give us connections with a market well beyond our reckoning or our opportunity here as a part of quite a small country here in Australia. So it's really fantastic to see an event like INCUBATE going from strength to strength, now in its 13th year. I know that you've launched 80 businesses so far, which is just tremendous. And I can't wait to see what this new cohort has to offer. I just had the opportunity to meet some of those founders. I wish you all luck in this pitch competition. It can be very stressful, but know that you're in a very warm room tonight. And everyone here wants to see you succeed, and we can't wait to see what you bring to Sydney and to the world with the products and the ideas and the services that you pioneer here and take forward. So on behalf of the City of Sydney, it's a great honour and to welcome you all. I wish you all the best tonight, and I can't wait to see what comes from INCUBATE. Thank you.
Now, without further ado, I'd like to welcome to the stage James Alexander, who is not only the co-founder of INCUBATE, but also the program manager who has been shepherding these startups through the INCUBATE journey through Class 13.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. It's amazing to see so many people in the room. We sold out this afternoon, so well done on that. Every year it gets bigger, the demo day gets bigger. We have the most amount of people registered on live stream right now, so hello to our live stream. And I always thought, most people don't watch live streams, but I've now been to too many events where people have been like, oh, I watched the live stream of demo day. I was like, great, awesome. So live streamers, you're going to see some great pictures. Everyone in the audience, you're going to see some great pictures. You can also meet the founders, so that's fantastic. I'm not going to talk too much other than that Class 13 is a diverse group. You're going to see a few different industries presented, and they're all at different stages too, but one thing they've all done is made some fantastic achievements over the course of the program. So without further ado, I would like to now invite our first startup, AusAir. Please welcome AusAir to the stage. Round of applause.
Forward, perfect. This is working, great, cool. And forward, backwards. Great. Well, hello everyone. My name is Elias, and I'm one of 3 co-founders of AusAir, alongside my brother Isaac and our lifelong friend Jack. And we've spent the better part of 2 years developing the world's first anti-pollution mask that allows you to breathe Australian air. So when we traveled to China, we experienced the detrimental effects of air pollution firsthand. It made us sick, with chesty coughs, irritated throats, and made us feel fatigued, not to mention experiencing the terrible lingering smells of air pollution around us. We did some more research, and we found out it's actually a global problem affecting developed cities such as London, Singapore, and France. In fact, air pollution accounts for more deaths each year than smoking, and this just came out last month. So when we were planning on doing another trip to China and South Korea, we went looking for a mask we could use every day, which was stylish, reusable, safe, and breathable. But we couldn't find any. We couldn't find any. So we developed the world's, next slide. They were either all poor fitting, unaesthetic, lacking breathability, or unsafe. And that's why we developed the world's first anti-pollution mask that allows you to breathe Australian air. With reusable skins, replaceable botanical filters, adjustable ear loops, memory nose foam, and dual exhalation valves made from military-grade stainless aluminium, we've taken care to craft a mask which exceeds in every detail. But we didn't just want to create a well-designed mask. We wanted to create an enjoyable breathing experience. So we asked mask wearers lots of questions, and we found out that traditional masks force the individual to smell their own breath and the sources of air pollution around them. We found that this actually discourages them from wearing their masks frequently enough as well. Our O2 Plus filter range incorporates natural Australian botanicals sourced from Tasmania and New South Wales and places them in the filter. Our filters exceed Australian respiratory protection standards and last up to 4 weeks. Each pack comes with reusable skin, 4 filters, and a travel pouch. Our concept series come in a range of block colors to suit all outfits, while our more premium designer series showcase works from Australian artists. We intend to sell our filters on a discounted subscription basis for increased convenience and regular purchasing behavior. So, why now? Well, there's been an increased level of awareness amongst both the scientific and the general community around the detrimental health effects that air pollution has. We've also seen that masks are moving away from becoming a generic protection device and are moving towards becoming a fashion accessory. People use them every day and they want to look their best no matter what they wear. We've also seen that it's actually a rapidly growing industry. So in 2016, the reusable anti-pollution mask market was worth around $300 million US and was experiencing a compound annual growth rate of just over 30%. So we've worked hard over the last 2 years, and since then, we're really happy to say we've based our product on over 900 surveys, countless prototypes and iterations, and we're really proud to say that we've got over 600 customers signed up, ready to support us when we launch. We've also come back from Beijing, and we've negotiated a deal to launch on China's second largest e-commerce platform, JD.com. So this is our roadmap for the next few months. We'll be launching on Kickstarter, followed up by Indiegogo, and then JD.com's crowdfunding platform. We have a well-equipped team with backgrounds in banking and finance, marketing, product development, and project management. So what I'd like from you tonight is I'd like you to get your phones out and think of someone who needs a mask. They might travel to a polluted city, they might live in a polluted city, or they might just not want to get sick when they're traveling on a plane or a train. And I would like you to let them know who we are. I'd like you to let them know that if they sign up today, they put their email down, and they back us on Kickstarter, they can get 3 months of free filters, plus up to 60% off, and they can breathe clean Australian air. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. That was AusAir. Fantastic. When I first saw the application for AusAir, I was like, what, an air filter, actually? And then you start to realize very quickly how much of a problem it is breathing air in some of the world's biggest cities. And it's been fascinating to watch that journey and watch them develop. But on to the next startup, our first medtech company for tonight. Please welcome Jake from Corax Medical.
Thanks. Hi everyone, good evening. My name's Jake, founder of Corax Medical, and proud to be one of the doctors working in Australia's busiest emergency department. I've seen a lot of eyes over the years, and this is a retina. It's a specialized protrusion of brain tissue, and you can see it by looking through the pupil. It's unique in its blood flow, exposure to the immune system, and very metabolically active. These features, this combination of stress and delicacy, make it an excellent yardstick for measuring the rest of the body. Your retina can tell me an awful lot about your health right now and for years to come, but it's not. Of the 3 million patients that go to the emergency department in North America every year, 250,000 leave without having their retina appropriately diagnosed and scrutinized. Those people are at a huge increased risk of going from what would be otherwise an okay long-term outcome to a disastrous long-term outcome. And this is why. In the ED, we use this thing, designed 150 years ago, providing a 5-degree field of view and at 13 times magnification. And forget about taking a picture. This is called a direct ophthalmoscope. We use these to throw our backs out, invade patients' personal space, and here's our 5-degree field of view, that small circle up there in the top left. So let's all give it a go, shall we? Let's give direct ophthalmoscopy a go. Name this famous face. I'll give you a hint. This is the tip of their nose. We all know who this is, of course. Now, I'm going to change tracks slightly here, bear with me. These are the world's leading killers in 2016. We have treatments for these diseases, but we need to know who's at risk before they get sick. We currently do this with a whole bunch of information, including blood tests for sugar, cholesterol. We're not very good at it, partly because healthy people tend not to go and see their doctor, and that blood test is maybe just a little bit too inconvenient. If we put all the people at risk of heart disease and stroke on the right medication sooner, disease can be reduced, delayed, and in some instances maybe even avoided altogether. This is relevant to most people in this room. 3/4 of Australians between the age of 30 and 65 have at least one risk factor for cardiovascular disease. This image tells me who you are. Quicker. Non-invasively, no blood test. This gets rid of the obstacles to get the right people on the right medication sooner. The software algorithms are out there, they're clinically proven. They're as good as current measures at least, and they're in their infancy. And that's just the start of it. They're quite amazing. They can even monitor your diabetes. But they're only amazing if they're in the right hands. And the right hands in this instance is your GP. The doctor at the front line for reducing your risk factors for long-term disease. The reason they're probably not doing it is because this machine costs $20,000. The photograph behind it came from one of them. It's enormous. It's not easy to use. Okay, it gives us 45 degrees field of view. It shows us David Bowie's face. But if it's not in the right clinic at the right time doing the job, then so what? At Corax Medical, we've developed a handheld device that takes a 90-degree field of view. It's so fast, so easy to use. And it wirelessly connects to a computer where there's an integrated website ready to go, and it gives those risk factors in the blink of an eye. And it does it at the same price as our 150-year-old friend, the direct ophthalmoscope. Right now, we've arranged preclinical trials in one of New South Wales' largest public hospitals. We've secured distribution with one of Australia's most trusted optical supply companies. We suggest selling the hardware for approximately $1,000 with ongoing monthly subscription for access to those software algorithms. The team is small, but with heavyweights in the medtech space and a track record for bringing devices to market. We want to put this device in the hands of all doctors everywhere to be as ubiquitous as the direct ophthalmoscope currently is. I'm here tonight to ask for $150,000 in pre-seed investment. This money will conclude an exhaustive design process, get us to the other side of the preclinical trials, and fund the regulatory approval process. So with one device, we sort out the problem in the emergency departments, we give the GPs a much needed piece of kit to do a more effective job, and along the way, we create the world's biggest database of retinal images for the most accurate risk stratification and diagnostic tool in the world. My name's Jake, I'm an emergency department doctor, and I believe I can increase life expectancies worldwide. Thank you for your time.
Thanks so much, Jake. That was fantastic. It's actually a pretty incredible thing looking into the back of the eye. So if you want to ask him, and I'm sure there's lots of questions you have, after this you can bombard Jake with your questions. He will love it. I love seeing doctors come through the program. We've had quite a few, but having more medical professionals come through trying to change the profession for the better based on their own experience is fantastic. Now, for the next startup, we're going to try something new. They were so busy getting customers that they couldn't actually come back to Australia to pitch. And they are stuck in Canada right now after an exhaustive few weeks in Europe. And they're going to be trying to live stream in. We're going to attempt to live stream in. So I'm going to ask whether, Katrina, if you can hear me right now, let's switch across the feed.
Yes, James, I can hear you. Thank you. Hi, everyone. So my name is Katrina, and I'm a co-founder at Lux. We're so sorry we couldn't be there today, but we're very excited to present to you what we've been working on. I've actually been listening to the live stream, and the pitches look amazing. So let's keep the energy going and go right into it. So I'm here to present to you Lux. Lux, we're an aerospace manufacturer company, and what we're building are atmospheric satellites. So I hear you asking, like, what is an atmospheric satellite? Well, it's roughly the same technology as a space satellite, like the one you see here, but just closer to Earth, so in the atmosphere, like this one. Why exactly do we want to put this type of existing technology closer to our planet? Well, in the case of imaging, for instance, the closer you get to an object, the better you can have a look at it. And that's exactly what natural resources companies need here on Earth. Like mines, like farm, like electric utilities, they need live, precise imaging of their operations at a low cost. And I'd say I can think of over 10, and there are over 10 different industries that need this kind of imaging. So mine sites, they needed to monitor ground movement. Farmers, they needed to monitor crop health and improve their yield outcomes. Cities, they needed to monitor traffic and optimize their streetlights. And then electric utilities needed to optimize their maintenance, the maintenance of their equipment. But the problem is, in this booming era of artificial intelligence and data management, these businesses are missing the raw data of their operation, the raw images. There is no product on the market that offers the images at a low cost. This is where we come in. So here is Lux Atmospheric Satellites. So our satellites have two main pieces. First one is the stratospheric balloon. Second one is an equipment gondola, which looks essentially like a basket with a camera in it. So we take images of the surface of the planet at around 20 kilometers of altitude, and we bring these images down to Earth to share them with our paying customers. This is roughly an image that you could get, a sub-centimeter image that a farmer could get of their production. Now, our paying customers pay a yearly SaaS that varies according to the coverage that they need in square meters and the technical integration that'll be needed. So, for instance, for $100,000 a year, roughly, you can get access to a live feed of images of your site and access to a free onboarding. Now, what does the competition landscape look like? So, if you're a farmer and let's say you want a coverage of your 10,000 acres production field, you have three options right now, and they're all on the left. So you have drones, space satellites, and airplanes. The problem is none of these technologies offer you either the resolution that you need or a reasonable price for this resolution. This is where atmospheric satellites come in. So atmospheric satellites can stay up to 2 years in the air, have the same resolution as a drone, and be 100 times cheaper than a plane. So it's the right coverage, right resolution at the right price. We're super proud of the product we're building, but we're also very proud of the partnerships that we're creating. And we are working right now with the Google company Loon, for instance. They've built what we called a navigation system that allows the balloons to stay over a specific point of interest by surfing, like you can see here, the right wind layers. So it's the only navigation system available of its kind, and it's a critical part of the technology of atmospheric satellites. We've actually met with Loon back in March, and we're working on an integration plan with them. Now, we're also proud to announce that our first customer of our pilot project will be the New South Wales government. So we'll be working with their Department of Mobility, recently signed an LOI, and we will actually be feeding them the imaging of Sydney CBD to help them optimize their operations, such as traffic lights, for their network of over 185 kilometers. So finally, who's bringing this vision to life? So myself, Katrina Albert, co-founder, and Vincent, also co-founder. So I'm experienced in sales. Vincent is an award-winning entrepreneur back from Canada. And we're lucky enough to be advised by two of our board members, which are Stéphane and Antoine, one expert in satellites and another one expert in strategic management. Now, what we're asking for today. So what we're raising is a round of 2.5 million to accomplish these three milestones. First, we want to launch 2 pilot projects. Second, we want to do 20 successful balloon launches by the end of the year. And finally, we want to build our first factory. With this round of financing, what we'll be able to do is, by the end of 2020, generate 3 million in recurring revenue. So thank you so much for being here today. It was a pleasure to get to actually present to you our company, and I'm looking forward to engaging with anyone who's interested in learning more about what we do. So handing it back to you, James.
All right. Thank you. Can we switch back to the screens? All right. Thanks very much, Katrina, and hello from Canada. I know it's quite early in the morning right now, but you can't see the whole crowd. It is a full house, and they're all smiling. So that's great. Now, the team isn't here, obviously, for the demos, so we've left their brochure on the table. If you do want to get in touch, just send them an email. They will be coming back soon for the pilot project, but they unfortunately just couldn't make it back today, which is unfortunate for us, but I'm sure we'll see them really soon. On to the next startup. It gives me great pleasure to welcome Booty from Piocaro. Welcome to the stage.
Good evening. Thank you for coming. Just in case you wonder, this is not a holographic projection. It's a real me. My name is Booty Bong. I'm the founder of Piocaro. After 20 years living and working in Silicon Valley in software development and product management, my Aussie wife here in the audience, she convinced me to move and raise our young family here in Australia. When we moved to Australia a few years ago, I decided to be more active in managing my own investment, joining a fast-growing group of independent, DIY, self-directed investors. And what I discovered was that this group of investors like myself is underserved. The first challenge that I faced was that I have to go to many different sites for different types of information. There are platforms that provide analysis and ratings on stocks, other platforms on mutual funds, and others on ETFs. Some platform would cost me thousands of dollars to access, and they provide so much information that I felt completely overwhelmed. So it wasn't really easy to discover and compare broad investment opportunity. Now, the second challenge was, after I spent a lot of time researching investment opportunity, I didn't have a tool to help me make a decision on how much money to put in each stocks or funds. Many investors that I talked to Well, they use a gut feeling. 10% in these stocks, 20% on that stocks, 30% on that fund. So I thought to myself, I need to figure out how to solve this problem, not only for myself, but also for that fast-growing group of independent, self-directed investors. With the knowledge that I acquired from an advanced degree in finance, I created Piocaro to make investing easy and better. Piocaro is a cloud-based, independent financial analytic platform for self-directed investors. So what does a platform do? We have algorithms that analyze over 40,000 assets, stocks, ETFs, managed funds that are traded in the US and Australian markets. We started with these two markets first. Our algorithm analyzes, ranks, and screen out more than half of these assets. We basically weed out the bad apples. And we present the good assets in an intuitive and easy to understand charts, and we make it easy to compare among them. This is the first part of the solution. The second part of the solution is that by applying a Nobel Prize-winning theory in economics, our platform automates and creates efficient frontier portfolios from the assets that you have chosen from the first part of the solutions, so you no longer have to rely on your gut feeling on how to allocate your money in your portfolio. Sorry, the slides didn't catch up with me, I guess. So with Piocaro, now you have a platform where you can easily discover and compare broad classes of assets, choose the assets that you like, and with a few clicks, you can create a set of optimized portfolios to choose from to meet your investment goals and risk tolerance. The global market for financial analytics in 2018 was about $7 billion, and it's projected to grow to about $11.5 billion in 4 years, growing at roughly about or close to 11%. This is great, but more importantly is the growing market of self-directed investing. In the States, there are over almost 34 million households that are investing in on their own or with help from their financial advisors. Collectively, they are holding close to over $35 trillion in investable assets. Here in Australia, the self-managed fund has been growing steadily at roughly about 5% per year on average. We have about 600,000 self-managed super funds. Collectively, they hold close to $700 billion in assets. This is how big the opportunity is. Our business model is simple. I like simple. It's a multi-tier subscription with $200 per user per year as a base and goes up from there. To date, we have over or close to 40 beta customers and 1 paid financial advisors. We are working with these financial advisors, piloting a program so he can work with his clients collaboratively using our platform to jointly build a portfolio together. This improves transparency, trust, and client relationship. So it is a big deal. I have a great team. I have 2 very strong developers. Together, they have close to over 13 years of experience in software development. And I am a technical founder with 20 years in software and product development and product management from Silicon Valley. And I'm blessed with very experienced advisor with deep expertise in finance and financial services. So my ask for tonight If you are a motivated investor, I have a challenge for you. Sign up for our free trial and see if you can construct a portfolio that outperforms your super. Want to learn more? Please come to our booth right in the corner over there. And I think we still have a nice polo shirt to give away, so please come in. Again, thank you for coming, and I see you at the booth. Thank you.
Thanks, Booty. Fantastic. If you are in startup land at all, you'll see there's a huge surge in financial fintech products, they like to call it. And with Booty, it was really interesting because he came into the interview and we're like, ah, yes, another wealth management tool, sure. And then he was like, oh, I've built it. And we're like, oh, really? And he's like, yeah. So I was like, show us. And so he swung the laptop around. We had a look and we're like, oh my goodness. And then we started to play around, and then all of a sudden we're like, oh my god, this is like really interesting. And then he's further developed it. So for the financial people in the room, do go have a go with the portfolio construction. It's really interesting. Okay, for the next startup, please welcome a very warm welcome to Reza from METASENSE. Reza, come on up.
Hi, I'm Reza, CEO and founder of METASENSE, and I'm here to tell you about a revolutionary way in proactive management of UV risk and skin cancer in workplace. Australia has the highest rate of skin cancer in the world. Nearly 1 in 5 Australians are exposed to sun every day in workplace. Each of these 2.5 million people needs to be protected. Of these workers, over 35,000 will be diagnosed with skin cancer every year. Not only this issue is a human tragedy, but also economic burden here in Australia is substantial. Over $4 billion lost each and every year through skin cancer. Whether it be the healthcare costs or loss of productivity, this hurts industry. I would like to introduce you to Alex. Alex is a typical outdoor worker, and he's working under sun every day. But the problem is that the only time he was told about sun safety was his very first induction day 3 years ago. And he doesn't know if he's well protected on the daily basis. What Alex needs is timely and personalized advice to stay safe. This is Janet. Janet is a risk manager at a large global enterprise with thousands of staff like Alex. Janet's job is to help Alex stay safe. So she brings in expensive consultant every year to identify this risk. But the problem is the data, they sample a small number of workers and a small number of sites. So she can't get much insight into this data because the data she gets is general. So she has generalized advice. What she really needs is individualized data on all of her workers at any time on any site. And this is where METASENSE make a real difference. I would like to introduce you to SafeSpot, a small, sexy wearable device that's attached on the hard hat and tracks UV exposure, temperature, time, and even location of Alex to provide him with real-time and automatic safety recommendations on his mobile phone. METASENSE platform also makes Janet's life easier. Janet has access to information of all the sites she manages, all the way down to observing real-time UV exposure of any worker, including Alex, on the site. So METASENSE platform also generates daily, weekly, and yearly automated report for Janet. With METASENSE, we will improve the frequency of awareness and compliance rate by at least 20 times, while reducing the risk of skin cancer among outdoor workforce over 50%. This empowers enterprises with a safer work environment and smarter duty of care. This is a $4.5 billion market opportunity within Australia alone. That industry is spending on OH&S services, safety products, and business analytics. This number goes beyond $350 billion within the US. Our main target customers are industries with over 50% of outdoor workforce, including construction, mining, agriculture, and forestry, among others. So how we make money? So we charge currently $150 per Safe Spot integrated hard hat and $11 of monthly subscription for the platform per worker. So where we are today in terms of traction, we have John Holland, one of the world's largest construction companies, on board for a 6-month trial at value of $50,000 and $1.5 million in pipeline upon successful trial. We are in talk with 6 other construction companies, and in terms of product, we have built the second generation of our product, which is 5 times smaller than the first generation, and also secured a provisional patent for our product. The team here at METASENSE have the vision to eradicate skin cancer in workforce. I'm a PhD graduate from the University of Sydney with 5 years of experience in biomedical engineering and cancer detection. I have with me Motasam, with more than 7 years of experience in medical sensor design and also project management, and Megan with experience in sales and marketing. So what we are asking tonight is, we are looking for introduction to risk managers in industries with outdoor workforce, including construction, mining, forestry, agriculture, and air industry. If you know someone from these companies included in this image, please come to our booth and talk to us. Thank you.
All right, thanks very much, Reza. That was great. If you do know anyone in those companies, please do offer an introduction. Not everyone here has to be an investor to add value. Often it's just opening your Rolodex and providing a quick intro, and it can make all the difference. I know, it has happened to me. It's happened to all our startups. So please do have a think. Otherwise, I think it's time for the next startup. Please welcome Aninda from Plan Aero.
Hello, okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm Aninda, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Piocaro. Piocaro is a dynamic AI-based task management system that automatically allocates your tasks and schedules based on your productive time. When I used to work for a large multinational company 2 years ago, my calendar would look like this in the morning. I can imagine everybody also had the same problem, especially if you are a busy professional. Things used to get stressed out when your managers suddenly call you for a 3-hour unplanned meeting. What do you do during that time? What's your feeling? You already have so many tasks, and you have a $1 million Optus project on your stake. How do you compensate those 3 to 4 hours? I used to feel the same problem. I used to get stressed out. this would make me feel that, how can I compensate those 3 hours? Based on our research, we also found that every person gets 1 interaction every 8 minutes, which causes a wastage of at least 3 hours per day. So if you think from a company perspective, if your employee is losing 3 hours per day, which is equivalent to 60 hours per month, for a company, it is 6 weeks, 1 full-time employee salary. How much money companies are spending on productivity? In order to combat this problem, we are developing Planaro, a dynamic task scheduling system where we automatically allocate your slots based on your productive time, priority, and estimation, and also helps you get back on track when you are off schedule. Let's see how it works in the real world. Imagine you have to write a research project. Let's see how Planaro works. So as you can see, Planaro with a smart algorithm automatically allocates slots for you. Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. What happens if my manager suddenly called me for a 3-hour workshop on Friday? As you can see from my calendar, my Friday is already booked. How can I avoid that conflict? Let's see how Planaro solves this problem. With a smart algorithm, Planaro dynamically reshuffle your task to make sure that you keep control of your deliverable. That's the main core of Planaro. Now, there are many calendars, Google Calendar, Outlook, Task Manager, which are there. But none of them is actually our competitors, because we are an automation enabler for them. So we don't compete with them, rather a kind of a partner for us. In January, we started with a minimum viable product, which we tested. And over the next 3 months in INCUBATE, we released our beta product, which we are trialing. Over the next 6 months, we want to move into team-based scheduling, where we are helping not only single individual, but also whole team to dynamically manage their task for 100 to 200 people enterprise. We are currently targeting single users such as project managers, program manager. So our current market is Asia Pacific. That includes India, China, Australia, which is $250 million market. Now, as you can see, recently Atlassian bought AgileCraft, and many enterprises are embracing Scrum, Agile methodology, to help them manage their resources and schedule. We are also moving towards that, which is a $3 billion potential market. I'll talk more about that in our later conversation. Our business model is very simply subscription. For single person is $8.99 per person per month, and for enterprise is $2.99 per person. Currently, we are trialing with Accenture, because I used to work for Accenture, with KPMG, PwC, and in India, we have got the 2 of the largest company that includes Reliance and BLS. We have got a good team. So I had experience working for Fjord, which is a part of Accenture Innovation. My partner, my co-founder, Crystal, who is moving the slide, she headed Accenture for the largest technology, for the largest energy company in China, which is China National State Grid. And we have got engineers who have 20 years experience at Quintic, which is the largest scheduling company in the world. We have got A+ advisor team who have themselves managed $100 million to $1 billion project, ranging from Vodafone to Commonwealth Bank. We had raised around 35,000 pre-seed funding before. With that, we released our single-user beta product. Now we need to scale up. We need $200,000 for developing the dynamic team-based scheduling system. And also with that money, we aim to get at least 2,000 paid users and 1 paid enterprise. That's all for us. If you want to know more about, please come to our booth and we'll talk about our vision. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Aninda. Aninda is a great example of a student that came to us with a problem, and over the course of the program iterated into something much bigger. It started off with a problem for scheduling for students, and if you're in startup land or an accelerator, you get a lot of these scheduling companies pitch you. And then slowly, as they actually went through the process and talked to customers, they kind of realized, wait a second, there's actually a much, much, much bigger space here, which is an agile team. So go have a look at their demo after this, and you can get a sense of why their customers are excited. Otherwise, now it is next for our second last startup. Please welcome Patrick from Detected.
Okay, good evening. My name's Patrick Brennan. I'm CEO of Detected X. And here are my co-founders, Mary Rickard and Dr. Mo Suleiman. At the University of Sydney, for the last 8 years, we have been developing a tool that is transforming cancer detection. That tool is currently being used by 90% of relevant clinicians in New Zealand, Australia. What we want to do now is move the tool from the academic environment to the commercial environment so that it's available for radiologists worldwide. I should say that amongst the three of us, we have the world's most published medical radiation scientist. We have the pioneer of breast cancer screening in Australia, New Zealand, and Southeast Asia. And we have a global leader in medical image optimization. 1 in 2 of you will get cancer. The important point to note, though, is that for a lot of cancers, 97% of you will be alive 9 years after that diagnosis if the cancer is found early enough. And that's the challenge. The problem is finding that cancer. Now, those of you who are currently still awake will have seen those potential lesions as cancers, whereas in fact they're not cancers. Those are the cancers indicating how difficult it is to see on this breast image, how hard it is to see these cancers. It's a bit like looking for Wally. Now, with the greatest respect to all my presenters this evening, this will be the coolest slide that you will see. Except in our Wally world, we only have black and white. And in our Wally world, cancer is only there in 1 in 200 images. And that's our challenge. So what does this problem mean to women? It means that for 2 women who are diagnosed with cancer, a 3rd woman goes undiagnosed. It means that for 3 women who are correctly diagnosed with cancer, 30 women are recalled for further tests and 2 years of anxiety. We transform cancer detection through intelligent education. So it means that if you're in Cincinnati, Seattle, Saigon, Sydney, you can log on to high-quality images and you try and find the cancer. And we tell you very rapidly how good you are. Dr. Seifried, I'm afraid, is not very good. She's missed 50% of the cancers. But then it goes through each of the images that Dr. Seifried has looked at, and it tells Dr. Seifried precisely how to improve. Now, the question you should all be asking at this stage, if we have been doing this for 8 years, have we made any difference? If you use our tool once for 90 minutes, you get 24% better at detecting cancer. If you use it twice for 90 minutes each, you get 34% better at finding the cancer. Now, what does this mean for women? It means that if our tool is available globally, around the world, that 4 million women around the world will get diagnosed earlier than they're currently getting diagnosed. You can believe us, or you can believe our 90 publications that we have in the world's leading literature. And for example, this is the leading imaging journal in Australia on your left, and one of the leading American imaging journals on your right. You can read our testimonials from 4 different continents. Is the future promising? What we rely on is high-quality images. And we have come to an agreement with 4 institutions across 3 countries to make sure that we get those images. And it means that in the very short term, we will have access to over 3 million images. But won't artificial intelligence do away with doctors and the need for education? In fact, artificial intelligence is embedded within each of our tools. It also means that we at the University of Sydney, our group at the University of Sydney, has more data on clinician interaction with images than any other group worldwide, which means that we are in prime position to develop, to test, to validate artificial intelligence algorithms in the future, and we will do that. That's what it costs. That's what we calculate to be our potential annual market in our priority regions. But we've only talked about one product. I've only talked to you about breast cancer. Our tool can accept brain, it can accept lung, it can accept abdomen, it can accept pelvises, it can accept any type of image. So where are we right now? I've told you about Australia and New Zealand, so you understand how successful we've been there so far. In Pittsburgh, I'm delighted to announce this evening that in Pittsburgh are going to take our tool next month, which means a network of 14 hospitals will have Detected X's product. We are at an advanced, thank you. We are at an advanced stage of negotiation with Jining, China, which means that 500 radiologists across Shandong province will be using our tool for the next 5 years. We are at advanced negotiations with ministries of health in each of these countries and with industrial partners, and Siemens is one of those enabling global distribution. If you like what you see, we invite you to come and talk to us and perhaps join us on this journey, because we believe that Detected will perfect cancer detection, and it'll do that globally. Thank you.
Wow. Thanks very much, Patrick. That's fantastic. It's absolute pleasure to work with researchers like Patrick that want to see their knowledge translated, and especially in such an important area. So I highly recommend go speak to him about this space. You know, and it's a great example of what we like to see at INCUBATE, which is world-class researchers taking the initiative and going forward and commercializing their research and bringing it to the world. Now, on to our lucky last startup. Last but not least, please give a very warm welcome for Joe from Companion Couch. Joe.
The green button. Hi guys, how's it going? I'm Joe from Companion Couch, and we are reimagining your living room. The furniture industry is quite an old industry. There haven't been that many noteworthy innovations since flat pack came out. We all recognise this sort of scene. But it's a very big market. In Australia alone, it's $7 billion. 48% of that is lounge and living room furniture. That's by far the biggest category in the furniture industry. So currently, the Australian consumer has two real options for furnishing their home. There's ready-made furniture. You know, that's your Freedom furniture. That's your Harvey Norman. Look, no real issues, except it's normally very heavy. It's ungainly. It's quite often has a very big price tag. And good luck trying to get it in your front door of your apartment. The other option, as I said earlier, is flat pack. Now, flat packs typically are much more convenient. No problems getting them in the front door up pokey stairwells. But they generally aren't built to last. They're generally made from cheaper materials. So what we wanted to do as a company was to create another option. What we wanted to do was we wanted to take the best aspects and attributes from these two types of furniture and try and get rid of as many of the bad bits as possible. So this is what we came up with. This is the companion couch, and these are the different options that it comes in currently. We sell it by the seat. It's completely modular. So if you want to extend your lounge set, you just basically buy a new box. So as I said, as it is modular, it does come apart very easily. This is how it comes. This is how it arrives at your front door. Easy to carry boxes. And we do get it to you in 4 hours, if you're in a metro area, by the way. This is something that we're a little bit excited about as well, but yeah, essentially we have USB chargers built into every companion. We've also made companions family-proof. So that owes to a hydrophobic treatment that we've given to all the surfaces of all of our products. Also, all of our covers are removable and machine washable. Now, the comfort aspect of the cushions, we put a lot of effort into this. We went through 4 different iterations. What we eventually settled on was 90 individually wrapped pocket springs in each cushion, topped with multi-layer foam, and we use natural feathers in the pillows just to give that sort of luxurious puff kind of feeling. And also we do have a charity partner. So Maggie's Rescue is a no-kill animal rescue foster network. And a portion of every sale goes towards sponsoring a specific dog or cat, for that matter. Our social media following is a really great attribute of our company. We've now got 4,200 Instagram followers. We get a lot of interaction. It's a very engaged audience for a company at this stage. And we do keep getting lots and lots of sales through this channel, and that's great, obviously, if anyone's ever spent money on marketing. So this is all great, but what's the reaction been to our products? Pretty good. We've got over 95% 5-star reviews. We've got 47 as of yesterday, we've also done $323,000 of revenue. Thank you. Thanks very much. Actually, just 70K of that was actually in the month of March alone. So, and they were all pre-orders, so we weren't even able to sell on the 4-hour delivery, but obviously a pretty good reaction. Okay, so who are we? I'm Joe. I head up the business side of the company. Andy is the James Dyson Award nominee. He's an industrial designer. Etienne makes everything look pretty. He's our visual graphics whiz and our creative director. And Dom's our first operations associate and salesperson. So our vision with the company is to, as quickly as possible, expand to the other states in Australia that we're not currently serving. So we're currently delivering to Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria, South Australia, and the ACT. We'd love to get over to the other side of Australia as soon as possible. And the next obvious place for us to go would be Asia Pacific. So Singapore, Hong Kong, China. China is the end goal, absolutely. We'd also like to keep expanding our range of modules. So recently we've brought out a Chase module. So what that allows our customers to do is to customize endlessly their lounge room. So if something's getting a little bit stale, just change part of it. Rather than having to buy a whole new piece of furniture, just change it. That's the idea. Here's a couple that we've been working on. This corner module, actually, that's actually coming in about a month and a half. We've got some almost on the water. And this is a concept of our coffee table mod prototype. So Etienne's actually made that himself, and it will connect in with the couch. So with a seamless, it's like an add-on. Okay, so we're raising $1 million. And essentially what that'll allow us to do is we're an inventory company. We can only buy what, we can only sell what we can afford to buy in terms of stock. Now there's always going to be a point at which we run out. So we'd like to eliminate that problem. Oh, and I mean, come and have a talk to us afterwards. But before I go, it'd be remiss of me if I didn't take the opportunity to try and flog as many units as possible. So this code will be valid till midnight tonight. Everyone buy one, please. Thanks very much for having me, guys. We're just over there. We've got a little sort of setup there. Come and have a chill. Look forward to meeting you all. Thanks for having me.
All right, thanks, Joe. Thanks very much. Now, I actually have one in my living room, and I can tell you it is really comfy. So do go sit. I know there's some people sitting on the back there already, and they can also attest to that. So do go check it out. It is really interesting. I'm on a mission to add all my startups in my house. So I've now got a couch. I'll have a scooter soon as well. So we've got the transport. I don't need cancer detection software, but I'm sure my doctor would love that, and so on and so forth. Now, we're just going to switch back to the MC and presentations, if that's possible, and we're going to continue on with our alumni update, if we could just switch back. So I wanted to take this opportunity to talk about our alumni and what they've been up to, and just give you a taste of some of the success and some of their progress. If we could switch over. We've got over 100 alumni, so we've got 107 graduates now out of the accelerator program, which is fantastic. It makes us one of the largest programs in Australia now. And as a result, we have a lot of alumni. Now, the alumni, we have too many to go through right now, obviously, so I've just chosen a few, and some of them are recent and some a bit later. So this is, first up is Green Atlas. Green Atlas is another researcher group out of Sydney University, and what they do is they help farmers count and scan and know the status of their crop. Now, if you're wondering what that is, first of all, it's a really mean and cool buggy. Second of all, it is in between apple trees. If you've never seen apple trees, that's what an apple tree looks like. Now, each one of those flowers is an apple, and it's actually very hard to count that, as you could imagine. There is no way to count this automatically unless you have Green Atlas. So under 6 months, they've doubled their revenue. They've scanned over 320 hectares of trees, tree crops, which is now the largest data set globally. And they use machine learning and computer vision to do all this, and it's amazing. It's when we say it's a 10x better solution, this is not a 10x, this is like a 1,000x better solution for farmers, and it'll help secure Australia's biosecurity as well. Okay, next one is ShopGrock. This was our last cohort. They have 3 times their monthly recurring revenue in 2 months only, which is fantastic. Again, that's another company bootstrapping. They've won a huge tender with one of the leading retailer groups. ShopGrock provide retail pricing analytics. If you're in retail, you understand that getting pricing is extremely difficult. And in the age of Amazon, it's even more important. Aaron is an alumnus and built a tool that he wanted himself when he was in industry and is growing the business. And they've actually got 3 roles open. So if you're interested at all in this space, please come find me and I'll give you details. He's hiring right now. BioScout, in our last cohort, they got accepted into StartMate. StartMate is a competitive program. They're one of the top accelerators in Sydney, in Australia, I should say. They also won an award as the Young Scientific Innovators, which is fantastic. And what they do is they help farmers detect disease in their crop using boxes like this mounted in their farms. The way it works is it uses air pollen and detects disease before it actually happens. It's pretty incredible. Go chat to them about the technology. They're a student, again, student innovation. And they're also raising $2 million. So if you're interested, go have a look. AMSL. This is really awesome. Despite what the prototype says, but it's also a great example of where you start as a startup for all the aspiring entrepreneurs. This is Andrew. Andrew is the founder of AMSL Aero. They are literally building flying taxis. I mean, how cool is that? It sounds a bit crazy, and that's because it is. But Andrew has the background, the pedigree, and also the experience. And in fact, they've just closed a funding round with IP Group, which is fantastic. They've secured a massive contract with Defence, which is also really good because it helps with getting soldiers out of live fire zones. And they're working with some of the world's largest companies to deliver flying taxis. You know, you might not know, but Sydney actually might be one of the first places in the world to get this technology. And MSL will be the ones that are pioneering it, so it'll be fantastic. And finally, equation from class 7. Again, class 7, we're at class 13, so you can imagine that's nearly halfway ago. They've grown significantly. They provide a scientific-based approach to flexible dieting, and they've got a client base that is global, and they've also grown to 23 staff and multi-million in revenue. They can't be here tonight, but we're really proud of what they've achieved. Oh, Abyss Solutions, I nearly forgot. And finally, Abyss Solutions from class 6. They help waterway managers manage their underwater waterways. It's really important to ensure that our water systems run effectively and efficiently. And they use robots like this one to do it. I like this photo because they're expanding globally. This is them in the Craicock Dam in the UK. If anyone knows that dam, I don't, but you know, I thought I'd put it there. This is literally from a few weeks ago where they discovered a valve that had not been seen in 100 years, because when you're underwater, you can't see anything. But luckily with robots, they can see everything underwater, so it works really well. Again, really exciting company. They are also hiring, so if you are interested in that space, definitely reach out to them. Finally, Mirth, who's with us today. Mirth was in class 12. They're our mobility startup. They're doing e-scooters. It's really cool. It's a very hot space. Go try it out. They're a fantastic product, and they're in the room today. For those that are aspiring entrepreneurs, and I know there's quite a few of you here, we have applications open right now. So if you have a co-founder that is an alumnus, that is a student, or a researcher or staff member of Sydney University on your team, you are eligible to apply. Applications close June 11, so get to it. Finally, we're also always on the hunt for new mentors. Mentors can work across us in multiple different areas in different ways. If you are interested, the best way to do it is just to get a referral to me or via one of our startups. A lot of our mentors, before they mentor the program, are already helping our startups. So if you're interested, get in touch. And I'd like to do a special shout out to our resident entrepreneurs for this cohort. Can I please give a warm round of applause for Martin, Ben, and Shane? Where are you guys? There you guys are. Where's Martin? Martin around? He's somewhere here. They've all been really helpful. Martin's for growth, Ben is in sales, Shane is in hardware. Ben is also an alumnus of the program, so this is a really good example of our alumni community giving back. And a big thank you to specific mentors for this cohort. I'm only going to mention a few of you. There's a lot, but in particular, our board advisors, Natasha, Brad, Mike, Connie, Mark, and David. Thank you very much. Round of applause. Awesome people. Definitely say hi if you see them around the room. And again, our second group as well, Jackie, Mike, Mark, Olga, Matt, and James. Thank you very much as well. These programs don't work unless you have fantastic mentors, and we're really lucky to have a really deep pool of mentors in Incubate. And I'd like to hand over back to Ashley for our final thank you. Thank you very much, guys. Thanks for coming.
Stay on stage. Thank you. Thank you. Hold on. James. I just wanted to bring James back on stage because while this doesn't work without mentors, our program also doesn't work without James, who in this cohort has celebrated ticking over his 100th startup that has come through the Incubate program. So a huge round of applause for James. Our program also wouldn't be possible without the support of the University of Sydney Union, which is where Incubate is housed. From what I know, we're the only startup accelerator that is part of a student organisation, and we're really proud to be an award-winning startup and represent providing the best student experience in all of Australia. It also wouldn't be possible without the incredible talent and quality of research and students and alumni who come out of the University of Sydney, and we're really grateful for our ongoing partnership with the university to continue to help their students and the Sydney University community turn their ideas into great businesses. So thank you very much. Now, I know this is the part where people like me always get up and say, I've got the best job and I've got the greatest team in the world. And I'd like to tell you that I think those people are mistaken because Incubate has the best team in the world. This event would not be possible without the hard work of a very small team. And I just wanted to call a few of them out because they have given so much for you all to be here tonight and to see the cohort that have been on stage. So I wanted to give a big shout out to Nina Jewell, who has only been with us for about 6 months and has been the glue that has kept this cohort together. She has made sure that everyone has something to sit on, and that we've got a room to be in, and has been instrumental. She has named herself Yes Let's Nina, and she always finds a way to make things happen. So we really appreciate that, Nina. Also stuck within her gluiness, I'd say, is Colette and Serena, our student leaders, who have been able to balance their study commitments with being instrumental in the ongoing operations of INCUBATE. So we're really grateful to Colette and Serena for that. Also, a couple more. Lucas Hakewill, who is our Associate Program Manager and who will be manning the Proto booth at the back there, has also been assisting us with the ongoing work in the INCUBATE program in addition to our pre-accelerator activities. And also Lizette Lee, who, while she's moved on to other projects within the USU, continues to give us mentorship and support and an extra pair of hands when we need it for INCUBATE. So thank you very much. And also a big thank to our volunteers who have come here tonight to help us with the running of the event. It really wouldn't be possible without their generous support, so thank you to our volleys. Now finally, just a quick point, when we talk about the alumni in our program, I would like to say a special thanks to many of our alumni who come back and keep giving generously to this community, and we're working to make sure that we have a really strong program for them. So we're partnering with the University of Sydney's Project Management Capstone and co-creating a new alumni value proposition, and for that we have a team of students who are at the back next to the Proto booth down the back, and they have just a couple of quick questions to understand from people in this room what they would like to see from an alumni program. So if you have a moment, please visit them at the back. And finally, as we said, this is a pay it forward community. We're hoping that you were all inspired by everything you saw today. And if you just have one idea of someone you know or someone within your network who could help our startups and their businesses to grow, please, please go up and tell them. And we look forward to seeing you again at our future events. Thank you.